the British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.
A warm welcome to Wigan for the final round of the season, round 8 of the 2013 British Superlite Championship. All to play for as we take a look at the lineup for 650 Superlite Race 1. It's Jake Swan, the fastest man in qualifying, taking pole position with Tony Turner and Paul Hudson on the front row. On row 2 is Anthony Jackson with Phil Redfern and Danny Kerwood. On row 3 is Gordon Knox with Tim Page and Paul Smythe, completing the lineup in P9 on row 3. Alongside me in commentary, Luke Jameson as ever, and Dave Dearden, ready to get this race underway, Luke.
And it is underway, we get away, and it's a good start from that man, Jake Swan, who is definitely the main championship contender today, Chris, here at Three Sisters. Basically, if Jake can keep it on the black stuff and stay out front, I think he's got this in the bag.
Yeah, it's certainly looking that way, just riding on board with Tony Turner there, who starts in P2 there and giving chase. Now coming under pressure from Anthony Jackson at the inside though, and here comes Anthony Jackson. Has he got the run here as he goes into that right-hander? Tony really late on the brakes there and seeming to absolutely floor it into that corner.
Yeah, definitely slamming the door firmly shut. He knows, Tony Turner, that he needs to stay ahead of Anthony Jackson if he wants to take second in the championship behind that man who we can see out front there, Jake Swan. So Jake starting as he's been sort of meaning to go on in the last couple of rounds, doing really well, getting off the start and being out front, but at the moment Tony Turner in second place ahead of Anthony Jackson in third.
Well, we're absolutely at the business end of this season. 30 points separating those two, battling out for second and third going into this round, as up the inside comes Paul Hudson, having a look at Phil Redfern, and the door shut there, and a lot of curb taken from Paul Hudson there.
Absolutely, it was one of those, oh dear, I think Phil's going to slam the door and I need to get out of the way.
Absolutely, and it's great to see Paul Hudson having such a good season. There was one round, the third round of the season, he was top scorer, maximum 105 points for him, so really mixing it up this season. It's great to see as we're looking at Anthony Jackson. Here comes Phil Redfern again on the attack, having a look at the inside of Paul. He's in fact actually past Phil Redfern now. He's having a look at coming back to him there.
Yeah, Paul Hudson's made the pass there, just a little bit out of vision, but you're right, Chris. Paul Hudson having a fantastic round at Finmere, I think it was, where there was a really big rough dirt section, and Paul telling us he used to be a motocross rider, so he really loved the dirt at Finmere. And Phil Redfern's there.
Oh, there is Phil Redfern.
I was going to say he's disappeared, but he comes back into the shot and Phil's broken down. Nightmare for Phil Redfern.
Well, it looks like his race is over. The steering wheel is out and he's about to clamber out of that machine, and he's going to be pretty miffed with that, no doubt, as well. I mean, just not actually quite done the maths here. Not quite at the sharp end of championship contention, but at this point they're all battling for what prizes they can get.
Well, I think that's put paid to Phil Redfern having any chance of getting a top 3 finish, but there's Gordon Knox at the moment just trying to chase down the man in front of him, which is Danny Kerwood in that camouflage livery in the number 7 Superlight. So Gordon doing his best to try and force the issue there, but running a bit too wide. Back wheel on the grass there, and he won't get a lot of grip at this time of year if you stick it on the grass.
No, it's a little bit damp there, but to be fair, Gordon putting up a fair fight here, obviously fairly new to this competition, and really seemingly getting to grips with this Superlight. Now he goes deep into Valley then, has a look for the cutback up the inside of Danny Kerwood. Kerwood keeping it pinned there as he has a look left. Can he get right? Is he going to go wide and go deep? Go for the cutback? What can he do here? What are his options here, Luke?
Well, I'd say he's got to see if he can find one of those opportunities to outbrake Phil Redfern there, just leaning casually against his Superlight.
Wait for green flag to rock up.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Gordon Knox has got to try and keep it together, but we're on the last lap flag now, and I think we just saw a brief glimpse of Paul Hudson, but we're back to the front, and we've got Jake Swan out front now trying to see if he can just hold it all nice and casually together and take the race win.
Well, this is exactly what he needs. 35 points for a race win, easy for me to say. Potential of 105, and certainly at the last 4 meetings, Jake has actually got a maximum points from 3 out of those 4 rounds, so he's well on his way way to making this, he's fourth out of fifth, I suppose.
Yeah, well, Jake Swan's not got very far to go now between him and the checkered flag for race number 1 in this 650 class, and he goes up the dirt section, then he'll head up back onto the tarmac and up towards Coward Summit before dropping down towards the finish line. And I think Jake, barring any sudden mechanical failures, has got race 1 all sewn up. Plenty of time to look in his mirrors. Yellow flag there, so somebody's broken down just on the approach to the checkered flag. But Jake Swan takes the win in race number 1.
A great victory, and I think you said it yourself, Luke. Class is probably the word to sum up Jake Swan this season. Fantastic race win in 650 Superlight race 1. He taking those 35 points I talked about ahead of Tony Turner in second place, Anthony Jackson taking third, then Paul Hudson in fourth ahead of Danny Kerwood, Gordon Knox, Tim Page, Paul Smythe and Phil Redfern. Not actually finishing the race, but still awarded his 22 points for 9th position. As we move straight on to the open class then, it's Mark Richardson, the fastest man in qualifying this morning, taking pole position on the front row with Colin Griffiths and Phil Lee. On row 2 is Charlie Wellborn with Danny Whitney and Simon Nutter, and on row 3 is Alan Henley with Paul McNamara.
Yeah, so here we go then. We're on the grid, but there is no Duncan Macbeth on this grid today. Duncan out with some sort of injury, but as it stands, he's already the champion for 2013. So Phil Lee, now he's just got to see if he can do enough to fight for second place. Duncan Macbeth can take it all very casual in the paddock, Chris, and just observe these boys all going at it hammer and tongs.
Well, a great qualifying session for Mark Richardson, but a brilliant start for Phil Lee. He's out ahead of him and really coming under pressure here from Mark, no doubt. And these two squabbling out. Colin Griffiths there too. There's number 74, Charlie Wellborn. We're all entering the dirt section now, and I think this is going to be a really interesting race. And as you say, maybe battling for the minor positions. There's contact there, I think, between Charlie Wellborn there and the man ahead of him, Colin Griffiths.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Mark Richardson fares in this race, because we've said he's done really well in qualifying and really quick around this circuit, and we've seen that Superlight.
Oh, there's a move! Brilliant move from Mark Richardson, straight up the inside of Phil Lee. And to be fair, I don't think even Phil saw that coming in his wing mirrors.
No, I think Mark was rather determined there, because he was thinking, he knows that Phil Lee's very, very smooth. We've said this before, haven't we, Chris? When Phil Lee's out front, he just drives his own race and he doesn't get worried. He just drives a really tidy line, sticks to his line, stays where he is. But Mark Richardson knows he's got the pace here at Three Sisters today, so he thought, right, I'm having this straight away before Phil gets into a rhythm, and I can't find my way past. So Mark Richardson out front now. Can Phil Lee chase him down and force the issue and get Mark to make some sort of mistake? Remains to be seen.
Well, Colin Griffiths at the moment having a battle with Charlie Wellborn. Still he goes wide as he locks up there, and at the inside comes Charlie Wellborn. Can Colin drive defensively here? Has Wellborn done it? He shows a couple of wheels there. He's round the outside. Brilliant driving from Charlie Wellborn there, and to be fair, to keep Colin Griffiths at bay, that's no mean feat at all. So really caught there. Let's see how long it takes. And Danny Whitney having a look too, because Whitney is battling for second place, I think, in the championship at the moment. So he's really going to be giving it his all in this. Danny Whitney's still in with a shout. Going into this round, 497 points to Phil Lee's 549. So every point counts as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, well, if Phil Lee has a nightmare and drops off the circuit, or a wheel falls off his Superlight because he's arguing with somebody else, and he misses a couple of race finishes, then all of a sudden you could find that Danny Whitney can do enough to pinch second place in the championship. So Danny's got it all to play for. At the moment, Colin Griffiths is in third place, I think, at the moment, and he's not really going to trouble the scorers in terms of a championship top 3 finish, but he'll definitely be wanting to try and get some points, because he's had a few dodgy rounds this year with a bit of bad luck here and there, hasn't he, Colin?
Absolutely. Well, as far as Danny Whitney is concerned, sort of over 50 points he's got to claw back, of course, without the lowest point scoring round drop. That's the bit that can change everything. But actually in this class, Duncan Macbeth was the only driver going into this round that hadn't missed a round. He now has done through an injury. I was talking to him earlier. He's been playing football and sustained a leg injury, so it's as well he's already won the championship, because it could have really cost him that one, because everyone seems to be on fire here.
Yeah, excuse the pun, but he would have been kicking himself if it worked out that way.
Oh, terrible. But at the moment, Charlie Wellborn now coming under pressure from Danny Whitney. Behind him, Colin Griffiths at the front of that train, and really Charlie Wellborn putting the pressure on here, as just in the background there, I think that was Simon Nutter just putting it sideways out of the S's. They're coming round Luna then, and Colin Griffiths just looking pretty calm and composed there ahead. Just taking a wheel there, Charlie Wellborn just getting one of his 4 wheels on the grass, but that's allowed Danny to just close the gap a little bit.
Yeah, Charlie Wellborn doing a Gordon Knox there, I think in exactly the same place, where he just ran a little bit wide and stuck a stuck a wheel on the grass and then it span up.
Colin Griffiths.
Yeah.
He's pulled up. He's stopped right on the entrance to Valley. It's Simon Nutter getting past him too. Is he still under power? He's going very, very slowly. The
Commentator's curse there, Chris. I apologise, Colin Griffiths. I think I've done you in there with my comments about having had some problems earlier on. So Charlie Wellborn moves further up. There's a man out front, Mark Richardson, who it's fair to say has grown some wings in the last couple of rounds.
Tell you
Checkered
what,
flag,
that's the
Chris.
checkered flag. Mark Richardson taking a great race win there. He's had some good races this season, but that was a cracker in Open Superlite Race 1, taking the win ahead of Phil Lee. Charlie Wellborn a well-earned third place ahead of Danny Whitney, Simon Nutter, Alan Henley, Paul McNamara and Colin Griffiths, the 8 drivers in Open Superlite Race number 1. So great race win for Mark Richardson in the Open class, and Jake Swan too in the 650 class. Let's see how they get on in race 2 after the break.
The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com. The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.
Welcome back to a thoroughly entertaining Three Sisters circuit for the final round of the Superlite season. Jake Swan taking pole position for 650 Superlite race number 2 ahead of Tony Turner and Anthony Jackson on the front row. On row 2 is Paul Hudson with Danny Kerwood and Gordon Knox, and on row 3 is Tim Page with Paul Smythe and Phil Redfern. Starting at the back of the grid for this one, Luke. This will be an interesting race.
Yep, Phil Redfern will no doubt be doing his usual manoeuvre of trying to get to the front as fast as possible, and he's very capable of doing that. We've seen him do it before. So, somebody just twitching a little bit on the inside. I think that was Paul Hudson in the number 4 Superlite, but Jake Swan getting an immaculate start yet again. Tony Turner forced wide, finds himself in 3rd place. So Paul Hudson, or is it Anthony Jackson, could do it, getting the extra points there.
Yeah, well, we're riding on board actually with Tony Turner there, and seemingly going wide, but knowing he had the inside line for the next corner, so that worked to his advantage. A quick look in his wing mirror there to see Anthony behind him. Yeah,
Anthony Jackson in 3rd place, and a great start from Danny Kerwood there, by the looks of things, getting himself into 4th place. Tim Page just running a little bit wide and getting it sideways on the dirt as they head up to Coward Summit. We're on board now with Tony Turner as we head down the drop into the right-hander, and then we come across the start-finish straight, and Tony running a little bit wide onto the curbs there, whereas Jake's on the other side. But Anthony Jackson, he tips it into the right-hander, and he's got it all sorted out in 3rd place at the moment. Needs to hang on to that and the back of Tony Turner ahead of him.
Interestingly enough, at nearly the end of the first lap, Phil Redfern only actually made up 1 place from his starting position, so maybe he's got some problems. Actually, just does look like he's worked through a little bit. Danny Kerwood just ahead of this train that Phil's at the back of. I think Paul Hudson is the meat in the sandwich in that one, and really giving chase to Danny here.
Yeah, Phil Redfern up to 6th place now from the back of the grid, so he's made up...
Having a look up the inside too, Luke.
Yeah, he's made up about 3 places or so. Paul Hudson now knows that he's got a problem. He had the attentions of Phil Redfern to keep him busy and definitely awake last time, so he probably tried to see if he can...
on the brakes! Phil Redfern putting it all sorts of sideways there, scrubbing off all his speed through Valley, and that's cost him a bit of time here, because he did well actually, because I said it wasn't that long before he managed to work through his field and get on the back of this group of drivers here.
Well, I was just going to say Paul Hudson would probably feel a lot more comfortable if he had Danny Kerwood between him and Phil Redfern, just as Phil Redfern nearly tanked into the back of him.
Absolutely.
Last lap flag, Chris.
Jake Swan out in front. Talk about immaculate driving from him. 1 race win already under his belt. As I mentioned, 3 meeting wins, really. Maximum points for him out of his last 4 meetings. And it looks like he's well on his way to another maxi here at Three Sisters. He really seems to enjoy this circuit.
He does indeed. He's very smooth around this place. A lot of tarmac here at Three Sisters. But we'll have to sort the maths out at some point today. But I think Jake Swan is very close to taking the 2013 650 Superlite Championship here in Wigan.
Yeah, I mean, he's just driven so well this season. He really got the bit between his teeth. And, by round 4, he'd put in maximum points. So well done to Jake. And definitely well on his way. Going into this round with 640 points. So well clear ahead of his main competition. Still Danny Kerwood under a lot of pressure from Paul Hudson and Phil Redfern chomping at the bit there behind them.
Yeah, Paul Hudson saying, "Get out of the way, Redfern's behind me," and he's going to come through me in a minute if you're not careful.
And off the final turn, here comes Jake Swan then to take another great win then. And it looks like he's our 650 650 champion, because I think mathematically no one can catch him now. Still racing to the line, these three. Let's see how these one all pans out. We wait with bated breath. Here comes Danny Kerwood, Paul Hudson and Phil Redfern round the outside. But I think it started as it finished, or it finished as it started, whichever way you want to look at it. But there is Jake Swan, the man of the minute, and he's going to be delighted with that. It's a long journey home, but with the smile on your face, it doesn't seem that far, does it? Jake Swan, then, the winner of 650 Superlight Race 2, taking those 35 points ahead of Tony Turner in second place. We didn't see a lot of him in the end. Anthony Jackson in third, ahead of Danny Kerwood, Paul Hudson, Phil Redfern, Tim Page, Gordon Knox and Paul Smythe, the 9 drivers in 650 Superlight Race 2. Let's try and go down to the paddock then for a reaction from the drivers in that one.
How'd you find it?
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, again, got another third place. Managed to pick up a place off the start. Got in front of Tony, ran the first bend. He managed to keep it on the outside of me, which put him on the inside for the next corner. Which so into third again. Started raining towards the beginning of the race, which made it a bit difficult for me and Tony because we both had the intermediate tyres on the back. But as the race progressed, it started to dry out. It started to get a bit more pace. So, but basically, I spent all the time chasing Tony, who was driving a fantastic race, and finished third again, which is good. Happy, yeah.
Yeah, it's still a good result, and we could see you really pushing for second towards the end of the race there.
Yeah, I felt like I did have a bit of pace towards the end, but I couldn't really match the pace. You know, he was sort of keeping it going, so that was it really.
Yeah. No worries. Well done for another. Very convinced that these boys are too deep in conversation over here, but well done on another second. That was worth watching, wasn't it?
That was hard work, that was really hard work. Jacko got a great start again. I'm looking over and he's there. I just held my line to the first corner. I was on the outside, but I held it. I knew I had the inside line for the second corner. So I squeezed it out and he was still there going. I thought, I can't get rid of you. Eventually, coming up to the dirt, I managed to get him behind me. He put a lot of pressure on me. But that's what it's all about. I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
He started really pushing you towards the end of the race there. I thought he was going to catch you at one point, but you did have it sewn up.
You're telling me? I'm absolutely pooped. Yeah, just concentration, because Jake got away. I can't concentrate on Jake because I'm concentrating on Jacko. But, you know, I got a second again. I'm happy with that.
Exactly, and that's what matters. It's consistency, and that's important. Jake, that was another very convincing first place for you. How did you find it?
No, it was very good. I was lucky enough. I had a clean start again. And as I said, I'm lucky, like the last race where them two were sort of embroiled in each other's company. I was lucky enough to scoot away, and in a bit of rain, I'm near enough the only one on wets, so a bit of rain done me a world of good.
I was talking to the team beforehand, and they were pretty much praying for rain to give the tyres a rest, weren't they?
That's it, I was praying for it. I was doing a rain dance and all sorts. I wanted it, but here it comes now.
I don't think you need to do a rain dance in Wigan. It can do that for itself. Mark Richardson then starts on pole position for Open Superlight Race 2. Phil Lee alongside him with Charlie Wellborn in P3. On row 2 is Danny Whitney with Simon Nutter and Alan Henley in P6. And starting in P7 is Paul McNamara and Colin Griffiths in P8. Starting on the back here with work to do again in Open Superlight Race number 2. So still alongside me in commentary, Luke Jameson, as Dave Dearden just pointing to the lights, Luke.
Yeah, the lights are about to go out and Colin Griffiths gets some great wheel spin off the back row. I think we're on board with Colin now. I was just going to say, he'll probably be looking to try and work his way to the front. I think he's made a few places up there, but then the man just in front of us there, Charlie Wellborn, just getting back across Colin. So Colin manages to make up a couple of places at least there, Chris.
Yeah, all the drivers looking now, they're now on wets as Phil Lee coming under pressure from Mark Richardson.
It's a good job they're on wets.
He's made another great start. In fact, actually, I think it was Simon Nutter in the background, lost a lot of speed and went very, very deep into the corner. He's absolutely belting it down here, and Mark Richardson got the advantage over Phil Lee. He's done it again. He seems to be so quick today.
Absolute deluge. It wasn't raining when they started. 3 corners later, suddenly the heavens have opened. The track's really, really wet, and none of them are quite sure what they're going to get because they've done a warm-up lap on a dry track.
They're going to get wet. That's what they're going to get.
That's about the only thing they can guarantee.
Yeah, the weather's been swaying with us, certainly through the last race. It was a little bit damp. It was trying to rain, but this is proper Wigan weather here. But Mark Richardson, although looking a little bit slow there, just entering Rogerson Straight, he's certainly quicker than the rest. And actually pulling a gap here as he gets it all crossed up there.
Yeah, Mark Richardson just a little dab on the brakes, and then the back end said, "Oh, can I go first?"
it's a bit more like ice skating at this point, isn't it? But Mark really got it properly dialed in here, hasn't he? He's got that completely under control.
Is it me or is it dry at this part of the track there? And on the other, look, there's a dry line on the start.
There's a rainbow as well overhead, looking at that onboard there. As we're back on board with Colin Griffiths making yet another position up there. Now getting on the back of Danny Whitby, I think, ahead of him there, just getting past number 74, Charlie Wellborn.
Crazy, isolated showers on one part of the track and not the other. And the driver's caught out by that, running wide because this bit's wet and the other side of the circuit is still dry. That's just crazy weather.
And of course, with Three Sisters, it's a little bit of a, it's brilliant for it, but it's a bit of a patchwork quilt with so many different types of tarmac as well, and all with different, ways of handling the rain and the different types of stones that go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Different characteristics for these different sort of types of tarmac around the circuit, and that gives you different grip, and the consistency changes throughout the lap. It's a really interesting sort of circuit layout, this place, and we've said before, we've been karting here this week, this season for a bit of research, and it's a challenging place to try and find the fastest line around this place.
It really is. Danny Whitby, though, still with his finger on the pulse, as it were, and he's really going for it today. I mean, as I said, going into this round, I've not worked it out since the last race, but 497 to 437 was the difference between him and Mark Richardson, really looking to just get one over him.
Yeah, Danny Whitby definitely in with a chance of getting a podium position in terms of the championship, so he's got to keep it all together here, and it's not the easiest of conditions to be doing that. I mean, just see that rainbow in the background
here as well, and just having a real battle with Phil Lee, actually, and Phil having to go wide to take that corner. I think part of that is in order to not skid out there and actually take the corner properly, but driving defensively from Phil Lee. I've never seen, quite a tiger in his tank, really, from Danny Whitby all season.
No, he's not really sort of, as you say, you mentioned Chris earlier, he's been carrying a back injury that's just made him be a little bit careful and not throwing caution to the wind, as it were, to make that worse. But we're on board at the minute following Danny, but there is the last lap flag, and if Phil Lee can hang on to his current position, he'll take second position in the championship overall, and that'll be fine for him. But Mark Richardson's out front, having a bit of fun getting the thing sideways.
Yeah, he's just looking absolutely brilliant today, and where has this performance come from? As I said before, he's had a couple of good performances this year and really shown that he's been progressing, but to have 2 race wins potentially under his belt at the end of this race, he's done remarkably well and driving so well. Look at the lead he's pulled too.
Well, he's had 2 rounds off. It's like he's working shift patterns, 2 off and 2 on, because he's taken 2 race wins here at Three Sisters, and the way he's driving, unless something goes wrong mechanically, you can't see him being beaten by anybody else today.
Maybe a bit of respite is the key as 46 goes off. It's not Valentino Rossi, it's Alan Henley there.
And speaking of Henley, there's enough rain here for it to be like the Henley Regatta, but Mark Richardson just doing a bit of back marker passing as he takes the checkered flag. Fantastic 2 out of 2 for Mark Richardson.
He said Ozzy took the checkered flag, or as he took the checkered flag. Mark Richardson, the winner, regardless. Official confirmation there, 35 points to him in Open Superlite Race 2. Danny Whitby back in second place ahead of Colin Griffiths. Phil Lee in the end in 4th there after a great start for him. Charlie Wellborn in 5th ahead of Paul McNamara, Alan Henley and Simon Nutter in 8th place in Open Superlite Race 2. Let's get down to the paddock then for a reaction from that one. It was all going on in Open Superlite Race 2.
Colin, that was a bit of a better result for you this time round. I bet you enjoyed it out there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It went all right starting off the back of the grid. You just had to be a bit careful, but picked my way through quietly and didn't want to do anything silly to get by Dan, although I would have done if I could have done easy enough. But just wanted to be on the front row of the grid for the final, and that'll do me really.
We saw you watching from the sidelines in race 1. What happened?
In race 1, spark plugs started missing and everything, and I did the limiter a few times. Trouble with the gearbox, and it ruined the plugs and changed those, and that time absolutely perfect. Just a shame we couldn't have started off at the front, but we'll be there the next race, and we'll give Mark some stick next time.
Well, it was a good effort coming from the back to finish 3rd, so well done for you. Let's see if we can catch up with Danny. Danny, that was a great result for you.
Yes, it was.
How did you find it out there?
Very slippery, very slippery. Yeah, just take your time, be cool, just wait and just feed the power in nice and steady. I knew Colin was going to be close, so we just had to keep it tidy. But yeah, very good, very good. Mark drove excellent. Couldn't make any ground on him at all, but yeah, brilliant, very good.
We had a torrential downpour halfway through that race, but I bet you relished that one.
Yeah, I did. I quite like them when it rains. Yeah, I quite like it.
It's good to see you.
Works in my favour. So, well, maybe we'll see how we go. I was going to change to wets and then thought, oh, let's stay on some inters. It was fine.
Well done anyway on your second place, and let's speak to Mark. That was another great race for you there. How did you find it out there in front?
Very good, yeah. I'm never usually very good in the wet. But yeah, that race came together. Very pleased with that. Yeah, very good.
What was your secret then? Because you led from the front and you managed to stay out there.
Yeah, well, I backed off a little bit, not too much power. Usually heavy-footed. So yeah, very good. Please.
It's sometimes difficult when you go out when it's already been dry this morning, then it just torrential downpour halfway through. Were you expecting it, or?
I didn't expect it to rain quite that much, but luckily we're on wet tyres, so we're as good as we're going to get.
Wets and Inters, very interesting. A great race win though for Mark Richardson, and again to Jake Swan in the 650 class. Let's take a look at 650 race 3 after this break. Don't go anywhere.
The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com. The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.
Welcome back to Three Sisters for the final round of the season and the final race of the season for 650 Superlite Championship. Race number 3 it is, and Jake Swan goes up pole position with Tony Turner and Anthony Jackson alongside him. On row 2 is Danny Kerwood with Paul Hudson and Phil Redfern in P6. On row 3 is Tim Page with Gordon Knox and Paul Smythe completing the lineup in P9 on the 3rd row. So all still left to play for some of the minor positions, but it looks like Jake Swan's taken the championship, but just out here for fun, Luke.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of fun to be had, but it's serious fun because you don't want to be getting too relaxed in these things because they'll bite you, basically. So the red flag is waved. They're pointing towards the starting lights. The lights go out, and it looks like another fantastic start from Jake Swan on the outside, and a great start from the man in 41 in 3rd place, Anthony Jackson. So it's as you were. Somebody sliding very, very wide out there is caught out by the levels of grip there. That's number 69, Tim Page. He finds himself at the back with plenty of people to try and pass, with Paul Smythe in front of him. We've not seen too much of Paul before, but we've seen a lot of this guy. This is the 2013 650 Superlight champion Jake Swan. Has had a fantastic year. A couple of glitched rounds, definitely struggled a little bit at Finmere, but looks like Jake's going to be back again to defend his title next year, Chris.
Oh, absolutely, and I certainly hope so. I mean, it's just been incredible to watch his progress and the way he's learned, and he's a powerboat racer as well, and I would imagine in a discipline like that, with each lap and each wave that you hit, every bit of conditions is differently. That allows him to read circuits and configurations and learn from them very, very quickly, and that's exactly what he seems to have done in this British Superlight Championship. So great to see. Here's the rest of the field then. Anthony Jackson ahead of Danny Kerwood, Phil Redfern piling on the pressure behind him again as he did in the last race, and Danny Kerwood, a bit of a cool customer as he comes round Luna here. Paul Hudson, the man, just bringing up the rear of that group of drivers here.
Yeah, Anthony Jackson could do without, but being hassled and harried by the man behind him is...
around the outside goes Paul Hudson and Phil Redfern. Redfern's on the brakes there, pushing Hudson wide. Redfern keeps that position just about as these two really duking it out here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Paul Hudson's got himself passed by Phil Redfern, but also that man, I was just going to say, Anthony Jackson could do with getting away from Danny Kerwood, who's just behind him, and trying to get past Tony Turner, because if Anthony Jackson can actually get more points than Tony Turner and get Tony under pressure from this pack that's prowling here, he might be able to pinch second in the championship. It just depends on the way the maths works out.
Well, it was 30 points between those two drivers going into this round, but of course Anthony Jackson stands to lose more because his lowest point scoring round thus far has been 76 points as opposed to Tony's 53, so Anthony would actually lose more from his lowest point score being dropped, if that makes sense. So actually Tony could benefit from that.
Yeah, so it's all complicated stuff. himself. But if Tony was to not finish this race, then Anthony Jackson could be in with a shout of actually getting second in the championship. So he'll need to get up there and try and harass Tony Turner into some sort of mistake that ends up in a terminal problem for the car at least.
Well, Danny Kerwood putting the pressure on, and it's all a case of ifs, buts and maybes, and when the track's a little bit slippery like this, anything can happen. As here comes Phil Redfern up the inside of Danny Kerwood there. A bit of a block pass going on there. I thought Paul Hudson might have even had a look in sneaking up the inside, but he got himself too involved in that one. But a great move from Phil Redfern nevertheless.
I was about to use a Murray Walker-ism there, or a Mudley Talker-ism, where it said anything can happen and it probably will, and on cue Phil Redfern forced the issue, shall we say, to make that pass there. But now Phil Redfern going to be putting some pressure onto Anthony Jackson that Anthony could probably do without, really. So I think we'll find Anthony Jackson trying to disappear off into the distance with little success, I would imagine, in this one.
Yeah, and now problems for Tim Page, number 69 there. And well, I'm not sure if he span or what. He seemed to be rolling backwards. I'm not sure whether he was allowing that to happen or whether he's actually stalled it. But here is our race leader, our championship winner by all looks as well. And how often, to be fair, do you see Jake all crossed up like that? He's clearly enjoying his driving here, not worried about conserving the tyres. He's just going out there to have fun. He knows he's done enough. He knows he's got this race in the bag. And why not? Great to see. A fantastic season for Jake. And here's Phil Redfern, Danny Kerwood. And
Anthony Jackson's dropped a couple of places there. He's gone down to 5th.
Yeah, and Paul Hudson just a little bit late on the brakes. I'm not sure if there was contact there, but that cost him another little tap there. I think he's just trying to say get out of the way. A little shake of the head from Paul Hudson, and through he comes.
Another one with the old tyre on the grass there, and that means that Anthony Jackson's got a better run down towards this right-hander. But I think Paul...
He's done it up the inside. No, he's got it. But actually Paul Hudson has got the inside line for this one. The two neck in neck as they're turning into his left-hander. I thought the cameraman was going to cop it and everything then.
Good job, Paul Hudson stood on the brakes there, because I think there might have been a touch of contact between those two if Paul hadn't thought caution was the better part of valour there.
Some brilliant racing in this Superlite Championship today, and honestly, if you get a chance to get down to the circuit or get involved with the Norrisport guys, give them a bell and try and get down to one of these meetings, because it's really spectacular to watch. Three Sisters, a great venue for this too. Now Anthony Jackson just pulling a bit of a lead on Paul Hudson here after final turn here. The two getting the power down. Who is going to get the advantage over this one as they cross the line here to take another lap? I think we must be into the final stages of this race though, and Paul Hudson really putting the pressure on Anthony Jackson here.
Yeah, Paul Hudson determined to try and get the better of Anthony Jackson, because again we've got this various conundrums with the points. Paul Hudson can't necessarily get the better of Anthony in the championship, but he can get the moral victory if he can beat him on the track. Yeah, absolutely.
Another little tap and he's done it. He's got the power down. He's kept it a little bit more honest. Anthony Jackson coming back at him up the inside. He's not got the run this time, and Paul closing the door quite wisely as well, to be fair.
Well, Paul made the mistake on the last lap of running slightly wide. He put that left rear tyre on the grass and didn't get any traction from that. It just span up, ripped up the turf, and all the grip was on the other side. And that gave Anthony Jackson a much better run out of Luna and down the straight, and he made up that pass.
And here comes Jake Swan with one corner remaining then. A little bit crossed up there for him, but he doesn't mind too much as he comes over the line to take the win then for 650 Superlite race number 3. What a season he's had, and a great race in the final race of the season for 650 class. Jake Swan taking the win, 35 points to him ahead of Tony Turner in second place, getting the better of Phil Redfern, Paul Hudson, Danny Kerwood, Anthony Jackson, Gordon Knox, Paul Smythe and Tim Page, the 9 finishers in 650 Superlite race 3. So that completes the action for that class. Still got the opens to come, but first let's get down to the paddock with Vicky as she catches up with the top 3 and our champion Jake Swan.
Phil,
he's definitely saying what we've done.
That was one hell of a race 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. After a bit of a disappointing start to the day and missing out on the first race, it sort of made up for the trials and tribulations of this morning.
Tell me what happened there, because you were in fourth for quite a while there and you managed to force your way past, didn't you?
Yeah, there was a bit of a late lunge down the straight there, and fair play to Danny, he just gave me a bit of a nudge but got by pretty unscathed. I'm afraid I mounted Anthony coming into Luna, went straight on but got behind him. Next lap I gave him a slight nudge just to hurry him along, and it seemed to put him out wide, so I managed to dip up the inside.
Well done, that was a great race for you. And Tony Turner, second in the final race today and second in the championship this year. Well done.
Awesome, yeah, buzzing, yeah, absolutely fantastic. I feel for Jacko a bit because he's been consistent as well, but it all come down to that one race and got off the line well. Saw Jacko behind me, and that had put Jacko second. And I kept looking and looking and looking. I saw Mr. Redfern creeping up, and I thought, if he gets him, he gets him. If he don't, he don't. And he did, so it did me a massive favour. So I think I'll buy him a pint tonight, maybe. But yeah, really good day.
I think he's earned one as well. And as you just said, it's all about consistency with you. You were consistent third. You were aiming third this year, I think, at the beginning of the season. You managed to finish up in second, so that must be a bonus.
Absolutely, yeah. I was hoping top 3. Got the second, so next year let's go one more.
Well, I think you'll have to fight this man for it, and I think you'll have a right fight on your hands, Jake. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
First in the final race of the day and the winner of the 650 Superlite Championship this year. How are you feeling?
I mean, that's brilliant, isn't it? It's been a bit of a trip to get here, but we're here. It's been awesome.
It's been amazing to watch as well, your progression throughout the championship in your first full year of Superlight racing. How have you found it?
It's been tough, but it's been brilliant. As I said, everyone around it's just brilliant. You know, we've had the competition's brilliant. It's just all generally pretty good, really. Can't complain at all. Had a fantastic year.
Who have you enjoyed racing against?
Tony's been brilliant. He's so fair, so consistent. He's just a brilliant driver.
And what have you learnt this year most?
You can never dismiss anyone. You know, everyone's got a brilliant chance of being up there because it's like the top 6 easy could be first. It's brilliant.
It has been some really close racing this year. I suppose it's a lot closer. It's very different racing to what you're used to, I guess.
It is in a way that it's a lot closer in so much as you can. You know, it's just sort of right next to each other in the boats. You have to give yourself a bit of space if it can get a bit interesting. But no, it's been brilliant.
Well, congratulations. It's been fantastic watching this year. We hope to see you back next year as well.
Most definitely will be here, don't worry.
Well, that's good to hear. Jake Swan, the man who takes the 650 championship then. 768 points, and just look, 4 points between Tony Turner and Anthony Jackson. And as I said, dropping that lowest point scoring round of 76 to Tony Turner's 53 made all the difference. So great racing then in the 650 class there for the final race of the day. Let's see how the open class gets on then after the break. All the action is still to come from that one. Don't go anywhere. See you shortly.
The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com. The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.
Welcome back to Three Sisters for the final race of the Superlight season. Mark Richardson, the man for the third time today, on pole position then, with Danny Whitney alongside him and Colin Griffiths on the front row. On row 2 is Phil Lee with Charlie Wellborn and Paul McNamara. And on row 3 is Alan Henley with Simon Nutter at the back of the grid in this one after failing to finish the last race. I'm not sure if it was mechanical or he crashed out, but either way, he has work to do in this one, Luke.
Yep, Simon Nutter will be going off the back of the grid, but we've seen Simon putting in some fantastic performances in other rounds this season, so he's got a bit of a challenge on his hands. We'll see how he gets on with that one, but the lights are about to go out at the front of the grid. We see everybody getting away, and another great start from Mark Richardson there. Danny Whitney in second place with Colin Griffiths in third, and Phil Lee forced out wide, so he drops down to fourth place. And to be honest, Chris, I'm not actually sure whether Simon Nutter's made the grid. He may have dropped out on the formation lap with that same mechanical problem that ruled him out of race 2 finish.
So disappointing. Oh, and big problems there for
Charlie Whitney.
Charlie Wellborn.
Charlie Wellborn, even. My mistake, sorry.
But yeah, looks like 3 wheels on his wagon as we're riding on board, I think, with Colin Griffiths there, is it?
Yeah, that's Colin Griffiths just behind
Just
Danny Whitney.
Look at the inside of Danny Whitney. I think he's done it.
I think he's now in front of Danny Whitney, so
I can't really see a lot more.
Danny Whitney dropping to third place. We've got half a camera lens clear and the other half with a big blob of mud on it from Danny Whitney's rear right tyre. But Danny Whitney getting passed by Colin Griffiths. Colin Griffiths there up into second place, but Danny's still harassing Colin in third. But that man Charlie Wellborn's got a problem that's not letting him go any further, but he doesn't seem too worried, does he? Fair enough.
He was quite casual about it, to be fair. Mark Richardson, it was interesting to see his start, actually. It looked like he didn't get a right lot of traction off the start there, but just looking at the rear tyres, I don't know if he's on inters or actually on wets on there. It just looked like he did spin up a little bit on the start, but pulled one heck of a lead again. Here's Phil Lee then, and he was a man giving real chase to him a little bit earlier on in proceedings, but at the moment now fending off the challenge, I think, from Tim Page there. Is that working his way through the field?
Yeah, it might be actually Alan Henley behind him.
It's Alan Henley. These white and red Superlights are all confusing me. It is, in fact, Alan Henley, who actually went off on the grass on that bit of the circuit a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, it took a lot of curb there, and you could see the amount of sort of effect that taking so much curb was having on his steering input, because you could see him really wrestling with the Superlight there as he'd taken maybe a little bit more curb than he intended to, and it was trying to force him wide, and he wanted to hold it in tight, carry that corner speed through, and it's amazing how much...
Oh, and a bit of a nudge from Danny Whitney as he goes past Phil Lee. Lee's gone wide. Here comes Alan Henley, 2 up the inside. That really cost Phil there, but quite a heavy or a hard-fought battle there from Danny Whitney there, really taking no prisoners as Alan Henley's having a look at the inside too. Danny Whitney, this contact, Whitney on the brakes and Phil Lee's backing in. This is crazy driving here, absolutely in chaos here at Three Sisters.
Alan Henley's had a rush of blood to the head and on the grass, and then managing to put the pass on Danny Whitney. I was just going to say, it can really cost you if you run a little bit wide at this place, and then all hell broke loose before I got a chance to say it.
Yeah, I just wonder if Alan Henley's got full wets on there, or as you say, he really seems to have a lot of grip there actually on this quite slippery surface. Some of the others just sliding about a bit, but he does seem to have a lot of traction, and perhaps that's the reason he's wrestling with it a bit more.
Yeah, he's perhaps giving himself the gift of a fresh set of boots for the final race of the season, and it's made all the difference, because he's not been running with this kind of pace earlier in the season, so he's definitely got something sorted out a little bit better. He's been making lots of progress as he's had race after race, but he's definitely looking a bit more comfortable here. Or has Phil Lee got the better of him again?
Phil Lee has got past him there. He's a wily old fox.
The old master.
Isn't he? Absolutely. And of course, the former British champion as well, and he's going to be disappointed to have lost out to Duncan Macbeth this season. Of course, got to name check him in this one, because he's not competing in today's meetings. Alan Henley's having another look up the inside of Phil Lee down Rogerson Straight, turning into Luna. Phil Lee still got the advantage, and I think there was maybe a little bit too much break there from Alan Henley. As Danny Whitney closed the gap, and he don't actually seem to have that much, surprisingly enough, but Danny's been fighting so hard today. As I said, a real tiger in the tank for him today. Great to see. Here's our race leader, Mark Richardson. Here's our second place, Colin Griffiths, number 40, giving it, well, all sorts really, isn't he? Trying to close down the gap on Mark.
Yeah, good to see Colin Griffiths, and I hesitate to say it, but having a good race in this one with no mechanical failures. I should cross all my fingers for Colin, because we've jinxed him on occasion. He's had a few problems this season, but as you say, Chris, fantastic season from Duncan Macbeth, 67.
Paul McNamara there.
Yeah, doing a bit of grass cutting here at Three Sisters, but back on the black stuff, which is where he needs to keep it. The last lap flag is out, so just a lap away for this man. And can Mark Richardson make it 3 out of 3? But we have to say, Chris, very quickly, that Duncan Macbeth has had a brilliant season this year, and I'm sure he would have relished these conditions here. Lots of tarmac, but a bit slippy, so he could have a hell of a lot of fun and just letting the back end slide out, as Mark Richardson does on cue. But a brilliant performance from this man today, Mark Richardson, looking like he's going to make it 3 out of 3 here at Three Sisters.
Well, Alex Ferguson famously said, football. I won't finish the rest off, but yeah, I mean, that's really finished disappointingly, Duncan's season for him. And it's a shame not to see him here, but mind you, he could drop his lowest point scoring round, so it might not have mattered anyway to him. Probably just coming to drive for fun. He is here to show support to these guys, but incredible to have done enough going into the final round to have already won the championship, as Colin Griffiths really trying to close the gap on Mark Richardson with just one corner remaining now.
Yeah, Mark Richardson comes around the final corner here at Three Sisters. 3 out of 3 for Mark Richardson. There's the checkered flag on the final race of the 2013 season.
A great victory for Mark Richardson. In fact, 3 out of 3 for Mark Richardson, a maximum of 105 points for him this afternoon. He's going to be delighted with his efforts there. Great drive and a great day's racing for Mark Richardson. His best results of the season. Ahead of Colin Griffiths in second place, Phil Lee bagging third after a hard-fought battle too there. Alan Henley getting advantage over Danny Whitney and Paul McNamara. So great to see Alan mixing it up too. Brilliant racing today in all the Superlight classes. I've thoroughly enjoyed all of that. Let's get reaction. Let's get down to the paddock then with Vicky, who should be catching up with Mark Richardson, Colin Griffiths and Phil Lee from the Open class.
So Phil, that was a great third race for you. Battle there with you and Danny. How did you find it?
Yeah, it's right. It's very, very slippery though. Yeah, I'm going to blame the tyres this time. I've got to look for an excuse. So I was struggling for grip, but yeah, we had a good battle, and yeah, he's just a little mistake, I think, and you know, he drifted wide, and I stuck it up the inside, and it was mine. So yeah, fair dues.
Well, it's been some great racing from you this year, Phil, and best of luck for 2014 as well. I'm sure we'll see lots more of you. We'll talk to Colin, who finished in second. You didn't have the best day today, but you still had 2 great results at the end of it.
Yeah, end of the season, a bit of fun. I had a good race there with Mark. I couldn't just quite get with him. He was consistent every lap, whereas some laps I could pull him in and then I'd make a mistake, and then he just kept the same pace all the time, and there was no living with him really. Shame we had a few problems earlier on that we couldn't race with him in the first couple of races, but at least then we had got on the front row of the grid with him and we were able to have a bit of a battle.
Yeah, it's been great watching you guys racing today as well, and I think it's been very slippy out there, but Mark, you finished on the top step every race this meeting.
Yeah,
how have you found it?
Yeah, I've been really enjoyed today. One of the best meetings I've had, I think, all the time.
What's it been like for you today then? Is it just the track that's worked with your setup, or what's been the secret?
I don't think it's any secret. It's luck and tyres and the track being in the right conditions. It was very slippy, like Colin said, last race, but very, very good. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Well, congratulations, you've won the overall meeting today, but the man who has won the overall championship despite not even racing is Duncan. Well done. How are you feeling?
A little bit happy, a little bit unhappy that I didn't get the chance to race today. Obviously very happy I won the championship. Had such a good start to the season and kept it consistent. But yeah, very disappointed not to be racing. But at the same time, happy, man.
It must be so hard to stand back and watch. However, at least you had that little bit of a good thing going on that you already won the championship before this meeting.
Yeah, it was a nice cushion. It was enough of a cushion that it would have been worse if I was here not racing and I was relying on results to win the championship of people doing not so well, which is never good to wish people not doing so well. But good to watch on the sidelines today. Did enjoy today. In some sort of way.
And it must have been quite interesting for you to watch the other people racing that you've been racing against this year, to learn a bit more about how they get around this circuit, I guess, because we have quite a lot of meetings here.
We do have a fair few meetings, but to be fair, the track is different most times we come here. There's so many different configurations, but yeah, I have learnt a lot, and watching some of the GoPro footage, onboard footage, is very useful. I turned up at the last meeting and Colin came up to me and he said, "I've been studying you," and I was like, "Oh, what are you on about?" And he said, "I've been watching your YouTube footage of your onboard," and he said, "I've learnt this and I've learnt that," and he changed sprockets and what have you. To no avail. He couldn't hang with me, but he still thought he learnt something from it. And I've definitely learnt something today. It has been educational still at the side of the track. So I should take that all into next year, and hopefully next year should be as good.
Excellent. Well, it's been great watching you race this year as well, and it's been exciting watching you race because you're not always the most careful. We think you'll be the first to admit that, but you are the quickest overall, and that's what matters.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's been good. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
So there you go, have a look on YouTube and go buy yourself a Superlite. See if you can beat Duncan McBeth, the man who takes the overall championship in the open class. 659 points ahead of Phil Lee with 639. Danny Whitmere taking third. Well done to all the competitors this season. It's been a great season of action in both the open class and the 650 class. Of course, Duncan McBeth, our winner in the opens. Jake Swan, our winner in the 650s. Thanks very much for joining us this year, and thank you too to Luke Jameson. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.